panel for this Fierce Friday. Wajahat Ali, the proprietor of the Left Hook, the worst capitalist site in America because he doesn't charge for it. Lev Parnas of Lev Remembers, the guy with all the inside scoopola on all things. And Elie Mystal, our friend from The Nation, whose latest piece, I love this, is entitled Abolish ICE or GTFO, which means get the fuck out, which we're going to be linking to in the show description. I'm going to go in reverse order, start with you, Elie, because I want to ask you, just as a legal matter, is what J.D. Vance and Gargamel, whatever his name is, Stephen Miller, the little gargoyle, is what they said true, that these ICE agents have absolute immunity and they cannot be prosecuted by state lawmakers?
Yeah, no, Joy. Look, J.D. Vance only went to Yale Law School. I went to Harvard Law School, so I'm going to forgive J.D. if he didn't learn this in school. But no, federal officers do not have absolute immunity to commit crimes. They do not have absolute immunity from state law. That's just not true. That's never been true. A good piece in the Slate actually pointed out that the most recent example of this was during the Ruby Ridge fiasco. If you're old enough to remember the Clinton years, Janet Reno, an FBI sniper killed an unarmed woman in Ruby Ridge. And that sniper was prosecuted. That sniper was charged by state officials in Ohio. The case went up to the Ninth Circuit. The Ninth Circuit said the charges could go forward. Now, eventually the charges were dropped because the Idaho prosecutor changed jobs. So he wasn't necessarily held accountable, but he could be charged, and in fact was charged. And that's a recent precedent, but it's happened periodically through American history. The reason why it doesn't happen often, and let's not forget this aspect, the reason why it doesn't happen often is that usually under normal circumstances, when federal officials commit crimes, the federal government is willing to prosecute them for those crimes. The only reason we're in this somewhat novel situation now is because the federal government is unwilling to prosecute its own murderers, right? Of course, if they did that, they'd have to start with like Pete Hegseth and move on down. So I guess I get why the Trump administration won't prosecute criminals. They are the criminals.
Right. There you go.
But there is no constitutional or statutory immunity for federal officials who commit crimes. They can still be punished under state law, and that's exactly what needs to happen to this ICE officer in Minneapolis.
And before I move on to the panel, I want to play, this is D6, Jason, because one of the things that J.D. Vance and Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem with that weird cowboy hat, she's always in weird costumes. It's very strange. She's a cosplayer, but I don't know what she's trying to be. But they keep on saying that this police officer was going to be hit by a car, and then they add that he was injured anyway, even though he wasn't hit, and then he was also traumatized from being dragged before. This is C6. Let's take a listen.
Don't take my word for it. Don't take their word for it. Watch the video from every single angle. I mean, the ICE agent walked away with a hip injury that he might as well have gotten from closing a refrigerator door with his hips. He was not injured. I've seen worse injuries from doing that. And so give me a break. No, he was not ran over. He walked out of there with a hop in his step. And so we just got to get to the point where we're at least operating from, hey, this is like, we're looking at it on the video screen. This is what we're seeing. Can we all see that it wasn't run over? And then, J.D. Vance, this concept of absolute immunity is pretty bizarre.
The fact that he clearly wasn't injured, felt well enough to call that woman a bitch, and then walked away totally normal, didn't look injured, didn't limp or nothing. Doesn't that hurt his ability to stay free from prosecution?
Yeah, but yo, baby girl, who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes?
Yeah.
That's the Trump argument, right? Like they're lying to our faces, and there's video evidence that they are lying, and they're running the goddamn Shaggy defense for this. The mayor said it was bizarre. I think it's craven. I think it's evil. What they're trying to do. But again, there is video. Everybody can see what happened and what didn't happen. And so, yeah, in any kind of reasonable court of law, these lies get exposed. But of course, the Trump administration's entire plan is to keep it out of the court of law, to keep it within the administration, to keep it in the FBI, so they can let the guy walk away scot-free. And the only thing that I'll remind people about that is that there is no statute of limitation on murders.
Come on.
And so while because of the craziness that we live in and the evil times that we live in, I can't promise people that this murderer will be brought to justice right now as he should be. But if people in Minnesota, if Democrats keep their nerve, eventually we'll get this guy, because there is no statute of limitation on murder.
I'm going to come to you, Waj, because not only are they not going to prosecute him at the federal level, the FBI won't even cooperate with local Minneapolis police to do this investigation. They're essentially blacking out any attempt to even get basic information. There were no body cams. They're using phones and GoPros to tape what's happening. Tell me where you stand on this question, because I'm now a 2-issue voter, one of which is the next president has to take a stick of dynamite and destroy whatever Donald Trump builds over the East Wing. And number 2, they must make Jack Smith the attorney general. Like, I just actually need them to tell me in advance that Jack Smith will be attorney general, and we can go on from there. Your thoughts on all of this madness?
I'm going to quote Rage Against the Machine. Some of those that work forces are the same that burden crosses. The intersection of white supremacy and state-sanctioned violence while wearing a badge. This is nothing new if you're Black, if you're Native American, if you're Muslim, and have survived the war on terror. We were called terrorists and savages and beasts and invaders, and even in death, our children are villainized. Trayvon Martin, super predator. Mike Brown, like Hulk Hogan. Tamir Rice. And now white America is seeing it, because we told white America fascists come for everyone. Even Renee Nicole Good, a 37-year-old unarmed white mother who smiled, said, "Hey man, I'm not mad at you." And then this thug, this Gestapo, took out his gun, shot her, called her an effing B, and thought by releasing the video that somehow would make him feel better. Folks, I have 12 kids over right now. I really do. I got all the neighborhood kids. You know I don't swear. When I swear, I want to drop it because I want it to mean something. So I'm going to say this with my chest. Abolish ICE, prosecute ICE, fuck ICE. Fuck ICE to the ends of the earth. We have been saying it for years, and I need milquetoast centrists and Democrats who are not willing to go 10 toes down and make this part of their plank moving forward. Get the F out. You are complicit. You are weak. I do not need you. If you're not willing to fight for the rest of us, if you're willing to fund the DHS, what Chuck Schumer intends to do, if you're willing to not say abolish ICE, if you're not willing to prosecute them, I recommend everyone read Ellie's article. If you're not willing to fight, get out. Because what you're telling the rest of us is you're perfectly fine supporting a rogue terrorist organization, Trump's Gestapo, that now will murder people in cold blood and then tell us to reject the evidence of our eyes and ears, cover it up. What's happening right now, the FBI is straight up covering it up. That's why they're not sharing evidence with Minneapolis police. And then furthermore say that Renee Nicole Good, a white woman, was a, quote, domestic terrorist. That's what Kristi Noem said. A deranged leftist. That's what J.D. Vance said. And somehow because she used she, her pronouns, according to Laura Loomer, and because she's a lesbian, according to Jesse Waters, it's okay to kill him. I want to say this very bluntly. When it was brown people, America said, eh. When it was Muslims, America said, eh. Pro-Palestinian activists, meh. Black people literally being killed for sleeping in their house, meh. They had it coming. They should have paid attention. Now they're murdering white mothers in the suburbs. So I don't care if you drink rosé with Karen, if you freaking golf with Chet, if you drive a Tesla, if you're one of the privileged browns and blacks who got their tax cuts. If they're doing this to a white woman, what will they do to you? Sorry for my rant.
No, listen, your rants are why we bring you on here because we need you to do that like every week. Let me come to you, Lev, because I understand that you've got some insight, as you always do, about what the overall strategy here is. We know it's ethnic cleansing. That's very clear. They've even gotten one of your people. They killed a Ukrainian last year as well. What is the plan? And do they really think they can bully these cities and states into dropping their sanctuary policies?
Well, first of all, very well said, Waj. And Ellie, I agree with a lot of what you were saying. Absolutely. I mean, Donald Trump, I mean, this is a criminal organization, and I was part of this organization. And that's why I could tell you from firsthand experience, we shouldn't be surprised. Yes, what we're seeing in front of our eyes is something horrible. And like Waj said, now that it's a white suburban woman that with 3 kids, the world is more at outrage. But think about Donald Trump's history. I mean, think about it started with that perfect phone call. He everybody testified. We read the transcripts, but he made it seem perfect phone call. Then he went on to Georgia. We heard it with our own ears. We heard the tape. The tape was played. Everybody heard it. I won 11,700 votes. Somehow, again, because the media let him slide, his Republicans with no backbone, start supporting him, and they use the social media to push it. And then the biggest one of all, January 6th. I mean, just think about 5 days ago, literally a couple of days ago, on January 6th, 5-year anniversary, they put out on the White House website to literally change the history.
Yep.
The Epstein files, it's about changing the history, because it's all about trying to play this game, don't believe your eyes. And now we're seeing it play out, I mean, completely, where, I mean, you look at this video, the guy was not hit. Not only was he not hit, this murderous piece of shit, excuse me for my language, but I try not to curse, but also I'm extremely pissed off. He was taping the whole thing. See, if you take a look together, and this is what I want you to think, how sick this individual was. If he was in fear for his life, how come he didn't drop the camera? He doesn't even drop the phone. He reaches, just think about it, folks. He's holding the phone, the camera in one hand. He's reaching for his gun. He's shooting. He's still, while he's shooting, he keeps the camera. And then after he's done shooting, he holsters his gun and he walks over and says, calls her, I'm not even going to repeat what he called. I mean, just think about what kind of individual. And the purpose, and I want to be very clear, what I'm going to tell you right now is not to scare anybody, but it's to give you the truth for you to understand. It's not to stop you from going out and letting your voices be heard. Me and Wash talk about this all the time. On the contrary, we need to make sure, because that's the only way we're going to take our democracy back, by going out, speaking up, letting our voices heard, and uniting with the same message, and making sure, like we said, fuck ICE, get out of our neighborhoods, and let's move on. But this is the strategy they're moving. And this is why everybody has to be careful, because literally, and I'm going to quote one of my sources inside, saying that they're waiting for a George Floyd riot. Literally, they're waiting for that moment, that spark. They're pushing it. That's why you see them doubling down, tripling down. That's why you see them coming out crazy. They understand that people could take only so much. They're waiting for that one moment to strike, for all of a sudden, and not only that, but they're putting instigators. Me and Wash spoke about this earlier. I called them up and I told they're implanting instigators into Portland, into Minnesota, into these places to start it up, because they're literally sitting at the White House, licking their chops and watching this play out on TV like a reality show, hoping that this goes so they could show. I mean, I'm hearing quotes like they'll see to show the left, the military of the United States military, their own people. Just think about it, they're planning on using on Americans. So that's what this is all being done, because at the end of the day, it's about the elections, folks, because he knows he's underwater. He knows he can't win. They're not stupid. They understand. They see everything going on, and he's trying to do everything possible to invoke that Insurrection Act to be able to do it. And this is where they're trying to make their stand. That's where you see now Kristi Noem come out there. That's where you see all of them double, triple down on it, because like Ellie said, there's no prosecution, there's no investigation. This is a guy, a thug, that just got in his car, went like this, let's go, everybody went. And again, this is, and I keep saying it, say her name, Renee Nicole Good. Say her name, because she is a true hero, came out there trying to protect. She's an American citizen. ICE wasn't coming after her. She came out there to protect her community, her citizens in her community, to warn them, and she did nothing wrong. Her last words were, I have no hate towards you.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at you. Just think about it. I'm not mad at you, to the guy that put 3 bullets in her head.
I agree, but I'll also point out that they're waiting to do this to black people. I mean, there have already been reports that they were disappointed at No King's Day because so many white folks showed up. Like they're willing to murder white people. They've shown that now. But the massacre that Lev is talking about, and he's absolutely right. They want that, but they want to crack black skulls. They're kind of waiting for their opportunity because they think that will play better in their circles if
You're
they
100%
conduct a
right, Ed.
massacre against African Americans. They're getting a little bit tripped up by the fact that it's so many white folks who are out in the streets as well, showing resistance and whatever. Again, they'll murder white folks, but the massacre that they're looking for, they're kind of waiting for black people to show up, and that hasn't happened for them yet. So I bring that up to echo what Lev is saying. It's important to protest. It's important to go out there. It's important to let your voices be heard. They want to kill you.
Yeah.
Understand that they're trying to look for an excuse to murder you, and be mindful of that, and be as careful as you can while dealing with an authoritarian, thuggish, fascist regime. It's just the reality of our times.
Joy, may I add something, if you don't mind?
Please,
go ahead, please.
Please. No. I was going to say something first, that I just want to have you jump in. Don't forget what you were going to say, because what you guys are saying, I want people to really take it in the chat. I know the chat is cooking. This is the reason Viola Liuzzo went south. Is the idea was that as a white woman, she could put black people in her car and take them around, and she had a certain privilege that she could move around as a white person. Reverend James Reid thought the same thing. Mickey Schwerner used to train other white people to come down south, and James Chaney was his handler, who was basically aiding him and helping him and walking him through the community. But the idea was that a white person could go into these spaces because the targets are black people, and in this case, brown people. Non-white immigrants are the target. But to Ellie's point, their ultimate prize is black people marching Black Lives Matter style. And
that's it. That's the word. Black Lives Matter. You're 100% right. I'm sorry, Joy, right? But that's what they want.
It's
exactly. It's that they want. It's like the Antifa, Black Lives Matter. They're Trump, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Joy, but you just said on the dot, because part of that whole mega is to uncover BLM, uncover Antifa, blame them, find the organizers, go after them, and that's what they're trying. This is what they want. That's why they're saying they want another George Floyd riot moment. They want BLM to show up. They want to come out and turn this on to you, like Ellie said, 100%. I apologize. Go ahead.
Want that race war vibe. And the only thing they would love more than that is to get your people, the Muslims. Waj, your turn.
Well, no, folks. A week ago, Guardian did an article where ICE has spent millions of dollars to do. I'm not making this up. They're open about it. Wartime recruitment strategy. ICE, the government, has spent millions of dollars to recruit specifically from right-wing sites, fringe sites. They want soldiers who will protect, wait for it, America's culture and heritage. These are white nationalist tropes, white nationalist triggers. The Department of Homeland Security 3 times has already posted remigrate. What is remigrate? It's a term used in neo-Nazi and white supremacist circles for ethnic cleansing, specifically to get rid of all the black and brown people from America and Europe. Today, Donald Trump threatened to denaturalize citizens who deserve it. They're already trying to get rid of birthright citizenship. I'm trying to connect the dots for folks. They're looking for their Reichstag fire. In the summer, the Wall Street Journal reported that Stephen Miller unleashed masked armed ICE agents deliberately in LA at Home Depot and 7-Eleven because he wanted a conflict. He wanted a crisis. Thankfully, the local communities responded so peacefully that even the LAPD said, thank you, local community members. They couldn't get their Reichstag fire. They created this bullshit Reichstag fire about big balls or blue balls, that 19-year-old, right, who allegedly was carjacked by all these black and brown people. That was a justification to send the National Guard in DC. Then, before any evidence, just follow the dots, folks, real quick, Joy. Before any evidence, Charlie Kirk was murdered. No one was found because Kash Patel was trying to find a jacket. I had to be petty. Donald Trump went out and blamed radical left-wing terrorism. Even after it was Tyler Robinson, they still blamed the left. Then they kept trying to find the Reichstag fire. The Afghan National killed the National Guard members. They found out, oh shit, this guy was trained by the CIA, and damn it, we're the ones who made him a citizen. Then they moved on to Somalis, right? Then they moved on to Venezuela, and as that was happening, folks, in the summer, they were killing Venezuelan fishermen, and Donald Trump said, I have the authority vested in me to declare them terrorists without evidence and kill them. And Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, said, we're going to do to Americans what we did to Venezuelans, to which I said, I think even on your show, murder us. And then it's September. National Security Presidential Memo 7 that says that the entire government will be unleashed to locate radical left-wing terrorism, and the indicators of radical left-wing terrorism are any speech that they deem to be anti-American, anti-Christian, and extreme. At the same time, they designated Antifa as a terrorist group. How does that connect to Renee Good? This is a war on terror at home against Americans, because after they murdered her, what did Kristi Noem say? She took the playbook from National Security Presidential Memo 7. She is a domestic terrorist who weaponized her car, and she was trained. They are declaring war on Americans. And to Ellie's point and Lev's point, they will murder you. And then one thing I'll also say to fuel our nightmares, Joy, who thinks Donald Trump is leaving? And if you think he's leaving, why? They're playing for all the marbles, Joy. He's not leaving. When people like me and Ellie said this in 2019, people thought we were crazy. Trust the evidence of your eyes and your ears. And I'm sorry for my second rant.
No, they're making too much money. They're not leaving. Let me read a little bit of Ellie's piece, which you all should definitely read, on your own. It says every authoritarian regime throughout history has employed a roving band of armed thugs who operate outside the law to enforce a strong man's will. Caesar had his Praetorian Guard. Francois Duvalier had his Tonton Macoute. Hitler had his Gestapo. Donald Trump has ICE. ICE is functionally a paramilitary organization armed and empowered to harass citizens, brutalize opposition, and murder people who get in their way. Like any paramilitary apparatus, its chief aim is to strike fear in the population. It does this not only through feats of violence, false imprisonment, and kidnapping, but also by repeatedly showing us it can't be held accountable for its actions. ICE agents can seemingly do anything they want, and no one is allowed to stop them. They know it, and they want us to know it. Given that, Ellie, how do we get rid of it? Because Democrats, as we know, are not the strongest people in the world, and they're not the toughest people in the world. And given the power of the Congress, let's say they somehow manage to win a rigged election and get back the House and Senate, I don't see them voting to abolish ICE. Nope. They're all going to fall back on their, well, we've got to, the pro-law enforcement people in our base, yada, 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 centrists. How do we get rid of ICE given that the Democrats are weak?
The Democrats are cowardly and feckless, and you're absolutely right that their instinct is not to abolish ICE. And as I was kind of saying in my piece, that's because terrorist paramilitary organizations have their uses to all sorts of leaders, even leaders on the left. The only way the Democrats will abolish ICE is if the people who support them demand that they do. And this is the crucial time to do that demanding, because this is the primary season. Yeah. You know, in the mainstream media, in the Bari Weiss-led media, they'll never ask this question. But any Democrat asking for your vote, the first thing they should have to answer is whether or not they're going to abolish ICE. Amen. And the Democrats who say no, the Democrats who they don't get your vote in the primary. It is as simple as that. Do not vote for a Democrat who won't take a stand right now and say that they're going to abolish ICE. And there are a lot of them out there who won't take that stand. Don't vote for them. Every single person is running in some kind of primary where you got some kind of candidate who is going to be willing to say that, if for no other reason than they would like to win too. Do not vote for the cowards. It's as simple as that. But now is the time to do that in the primary season before August. Now is the time to ask those questions, because by the time you get to November, then you are kind of locked into a binary choice. Then you are locked in to a lesser of two evils. Then you've got the Democrat who's not going to abolish ICE and the Republican who's going to empower ICE. Don't let the choice come down to those two evils. Demand action now during the primary process when your voice can matter. And the last thing I'll say about that, it only takes a couple. One thing that you have to understand about politicians is not only that they're cowards, but that they're cowards who always have their finger in the wind and are always looking at who else got. All you got to do is take out one or two of these feckless Democrats on the ICE issue, and the rest of them will fall in line. The rest of them will cower in line. I just remember what happened to Eric Cantor. Remember. Eric Cantor, the Republican leadership guy who was primaried by the Tea Party and got, right? Lost the primary to the Tea Party. Now, the Democrats won his seat, by the way, because the Republicans ended up electing like crazy person. But every other Republican understood when Cantor got that the Tea Party was real and they had to play ball. That's the same thing that can happen for the Democratic Party. All you got to do is take out one or two of these guys during the primary process, and the rest of them will be like, "Oh, damn, we better oppose us now if we want our jobs." That's how cowardly they are, but that's how much power we have right now if we use it.
And I will remind you that one of the other things that happened after the Eric Cantor thing is that people like Marco Rubio, who were always Bush neocons, suddenly were like, "I'm in the Tea Party."
That's right.
Lev, let me ask you. I'm going to ask Lev's Waj's cat a question shortly, but while we get the cat ready, because that cat is adorable. We're very pro pet on the show. Lev, how concerned? Steve Bannon did say not that long ago that if we don't win the next election, I think he was talking about the 2024 election, some of us are going to jail, me included.
Yeah.
How concerned are they internally that what Ellie is saying, what Waj is saying, what you're saying, what I'm saying really might happen? That there may someday be an attorney general with balls, unlike Merrick Garland, who would go back and say, all y'all getting prosecuted. Homan, you getting prosecuted also for taking that bribe. We're going to prosecute Pam Bondi's ass for perjuring herself before the United States Senate. We're going to prosecute little FBI guy for just being a weirdo. Just prosecute him just on general principle alone because he's fucking weird. We're going to prosecute what's his name?
Pete Hegseth.
For war crimes. Like, how concerned are they that Kristi Noem might get got, that these guys actually might be prosecuted by a future Democratic AG?
Well, it's a great question, and let me break it down like this. So, so you have a group out there that is concerned, and you're seeing the movements of them moving out. Like you saw, we speak about Dan Bongino, which I told you about. You saw he's out of there now. He's somebody we're going to talk about later, go after. You saw Susie Wiles come out with that Vanity Fair piece. That was also, we talked about. But then you have the ones that are not even thinking, and that's I look at them as like we were. Like when I was with him, where Rudy was, we were hardcore in, and that called. And those are the Kristi Noem, those are the Kash Patel, those are the Pete Hegseth, the Pam Bondis. They're going to go down with the ship. So they're not even thinking about what a new attorney general. What they're thinking is how to stay in power forever, how to destroy the Constitution and rip this country apart to the point where there is no fair elections, that there is no way for there to be a democratic leadership. Because that is what the game plan is all about. And just like Ellie said, I agree with them 100% that right now the most important thing that we have is our voices, and we are in control as the people because they're extremely scared. If you saw Donald Trump at his retreat, and I've been to plenty of those retreats, that was not a confident Donald Trump. He was talking about, I'm about to get impeached if you guys don't step it up over here, feeling the pressure. You saw then right afterwards Stephen Miller coming out making those accusations that ICE has total immunity. I mean, they are definitely scared, and that's why I'm saying we gotta be careful that we don't give them an excuse to they're already looking for the insurrection. But I do want to say one thing, and I want to bring our attention back to, because everybody has that question, and you said that question, Joy. How do we stop this? Knowing these people the way as good as I know them, I do not believe that they will allow us to have a fair elections in 2024. I'm going to tell you the way it is. I'm not saying it to scare anybody. I'm not saying I've been saying it for 10 months since I came to this platform. We do have a weapon, and we do have something. And me and Waj and you guys always speak about this, and I want to bring it up, and it's called the Epstein files. This is the one thing that this whole country can agree upon, including Mega, including his own base that is ripped apart. Unfortunately, like it or not, with the horrors that we're seeing play out in front of our eyes in Venezuela and Ukraine and the Middle East and Palestine, and even here back at home with ICE ripping us apart, these are still partisan issues. Mm-hmm. You still can't get the Republicans, and that is why we're ripped apart. But there's one issue where the Republicans have agreed. There's one issue that Mega has agreed. And that is why I think the most important thing, and that's why, I spoke to Congressman Raskin Ro Khanna. I'm going to Washington, D.C. next week to make a push for it. But right now, they're doing everything possible to distract from these Epstein files. These Epstein files are the death to Donald Trump and a whole group of a very powerful, influential man. And it's bigger than just an American cover-up. This is a world cover-up. Mm-hmm. And that's why a lot of these players, and that's why I say that as bad as a lot of these things are, and I try not to demeanor any of these situations because they're all horrible, but the only way we could stop Donald Trump, stop MAGA in their tracks, and take it from a person that helped build it is right now to make sure that take the Epstein files, unite this Congress, and attack. I want to see subpoenas flying. I want to see impeachment on Pam Bondi. When you see that, you will stop seeing ICE enforcement. You will start seeing, because they will go on the defense like you've never seen. They'll start scrambling because these people have no loyalty to each other. This is not like some beautiful party where they love each other. They hate each other. The first second, Holmgren and Noam, I speak to my sources, they're at each other's throat. The second this thing goes at it, they will be at it first when they're going to be running like rats from a ship. So right now, we need accountability. We need to take, it's like in a war, you have to use the tool that you have. Even though you want to go bombing, but you might have to send a submarine. Well, we have our tool right now. And just think about it. Before we went to New Year's, every single congressperson was talking about how they're in default with the Epstein files, that we're going to do all of these filings. We're 5 days in. The week has ended. Have you heard one thing? No. So I just want to bring everybody back and say, as horrible as things are, we need action. And action is what we have. And the biggest thing against these people, and we say it, Watch says it says, Achilles' cankles, I say it's his kryptonite. But, the Epstein files is what will get us our democracy back, folks. I could promise you that.
And let me tell you something. I think you need that. Yes, absolutely. And, we've been on the Epstein files on the show a lot. That's how we got to hang out with you, Lev, so often. But I will say there's one other thing that we need, Waz. I'm going to come to you on this messaging. We must not let this murder of this woman go. The right took poor Laken Riley.
That's right.
And turned her into a mission critical, turned her into a meme that could not stop. They tried to do the same with Charlie Kirk, but his own evil ass words made it really hard to martyr him for long. They played that game for a hot minute, but just the crazy, awful things he said made it kind of challenging, and his widow's super weird. But this is the Laken Riley moment. This woman is our Viola Liuzzo. This is our Reverend James Reid. This is a white woman who was murdered in broad daylight and then called a bitch by the person that this government, this regime has said is supposed to be protecting white women from brown people. And if the Democratic side does not pick this up and never let it go and never let that family go, I don't know what to do with them.
I hate to say this, folks, but this crowd will probably appreciate it. White lives matter more in America than black lives and brown lives. White rage is paid attention to. White grievance is heard. White blood has a bigger price to it. This is a white woman. This is a mother of 3 kids. This is an unarmed suburban woman who was married to a veteran, and they shot her and killed her in cold blood and called her an effing B. And in death, they're dragging her name and calling her a domestic terrorist. If this doesn't wake up white America, I don't know what will. And we saw a Washington Post reporter, a former Washington Post reporter, like Philip Bloom, I think that's his name, on TV on MS Now, the artist formerly known as MSNBC, cry. And he said, this could have been my wife. So you need to, and not use this, but rally around this. Sometimes all it takes is a spark. George Floyd was murdered less than a mile from Renee Nicole Good. And my apathetic and cynical friend said, this country won't move, won't care. I said, there's something about seeing a grown man being choked to death. There's something that can just, if you will, forces you to see the sins that were in front of your eyes, but you refuse to acknowledge. And I think the murder, the deliberate murder, the cover-up, and the demonization of this white suburban mom with the stuffed toys in the back, with the blood in the front, this is the moment. And this is the moment for white America. I'm sorry, let me be blunt. Black people have been marching. Indigenous people have been marching. This is the war on terror that has come at home. I marched as a college student during the war on terror and said, y'all are creating ICE and the Patriot Act and creating a loaded gun that a reckless organization will then turn from the Muslims and the Iraqis and the Afghans and turn on the American people. ICE was created after the war on terror. Patriot Act was created after the war on terror. And Joy, now ICE is being used by the state to murder U.S. citizens. This is it. This is the moment. You say her name, Renee Nicole Good. You put her photo everywhere. You talk about how she was a Christian, how she was a mother. You play that tape. You play that ICE man saying that she's an effing B. And then I'll end on this because I want to go back to what Ellie said. We have a generational moment. We only have 6 months, folks.
That's right.
Primary season is right now. I talked to Ezra Levin of Indivisible, who helped co-manage, the No Kings rally. Everything he said, he agreed with us. He said, abolish ICE. Democrats are feckless. Democrats need to run abolishing ICE. Power to the people. Put pressure on them. And he said 2 things that are happening right now. Right now. Primary season, folks, if these Democrats still embrace a fascist abroad, still embrace a genocide, still suck at the teat of the oligarchy, are unwilling to tax the rich, and are saying, no, we're fine with ICE as they murder citizens, get the F out. You primary them right now. I'm done with vote blue no matter who. I saw how you all did Mamdani dirty. I'm done with it. We deserve more. We deserve fighters. We deserve accountability. Ellie and myself and you are old enough, Lev's old enough. I'm done with crumbs, okay? If you're not a fighter, if you're not willing to hold these people accountable, if you're not willing to say abolish ICE, you're out. Primary season is right now, Joy. And if you think I'm wrong about this, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong.
Absolutely right. And we say it on this show a lot. And I tell my readers all the time, your power is in the primary. By the time, as Ellie said, you get to the general, you're stuck with what's on the ballot. And then you've got to do a lesser of two evils thing. The primary is how the Tea Party movement took over the Republican Party. And the Tea Party movement is what morphed into MAGA. They took that party not by force, but by primaries. And if you want a better Democratic Party that can actually fight these fascists, you've got to fight them in primaries, get rid of the milquetoast, get all of those moderates out and put in people who are willing to fight. I'm going to give you the last word on this, Ellie, because we not only need a plan. If Jason, if you could, whenever you get a chance, just pull up A7 again, because I definitely want to show that again. Ellie, last word to you.
Yeah, so look, I'm old enough to remember when white people let a bunch of white children die in Newtown, Connecticut, and did nothing. I don't have Waj's faith in the white ability to self-regard, to see themselves for what they are, and to act appropriately. I don't have that faith anymore. That's been shaken too many times. What I do have some hope for, where I do agree with Waj, is that we are witnessing authoritarian overreach. We are witnessing a administration that is drunk on power and now drunk on murder. And the only thing that I can kind of hold on to hope for is that, again, when you look at history, when authoritarians fail, it is in moments like these. It is in moments when they're winning. It's in moments when they think they cannot be stopped. It is in those moments that the authoritarians overreach, overstretch themselves. This is when they invade Russia, right? This is when they start a land war in Asia, and it doesn't work out for them. And so I hope that this is a moment where we are all seeing these people drunk with their own power, drunk on the blood of our citizens, and they grasp their reach out exceeds their grasp. That is what I hope for.
And listen, I don't necessarily trust all the white people, but I do trust my spicy whites. My spicy whites, trust them because they are already with us, right? And I think sometimes what Democrats do wrong is they reach for the white folks they don't have instead of properly utilizing the 40% that they do. You never forget that going all the way back to when I was in junior high school, 4 out of 10 white folks vote with us, stick with us, and roll with us, and rock with us. Those are my spicy whites. And so I'm really not interested in trying to recruit more Liz Cheneys. I think the mistake Democrats make is they think they can go all the way over to, Dick Cheney's out here defending the war, the self-declared White House war on Venezuela, because that goes with his ideology, even though he was just saying Trump was dangerous and Trump wanted to put him in prison. So no, I don't trust them. Conservatives have always been our enemy. Conservatism, whether it was labeled Democratic Party, labeled Republican Party, labeled Dixiecrat Party,
Byron Donalds is doing it, or Stephen Miller,
or Stephen A. Smith. Because they got a couple of little ones
doesn't matter exactly.
They can put them on a little donkey track and let them eat out of a bucket and walk around the track with them. So you got a few like him that roll with them too. I don't trust those people. I don't want to recruit them. I don't want to bring them over. I don't want to convince them. I don't want to do nothing. What I want is to have my very small list. I'm Arya Stark about this bitch. I'm sorry, I'm a cusser. I apologize. But my mom will be very mad at me, but I cuss a lot because these people make me cuss. I'm a cussing Christian. I need them all prosecuted. Send me, if it's Jack Smith, he's willing to do it, give me Jack Smith. Give me whoever is ruthless and cruel enough as Attorney General that will put them all behind bars. Pam Bondi needs to get prosecuted. Tom Homan needs to get prosecuted. Stephen Miller needs to get prosecuted. Kristi Noem, weirdo ass, needs to get prosecuted. And she doesn't know anything about the law and shouldn't be Homeland Security Secretary. RFK Jr., let's see how many people he kills with measles. Throw him in that bucket as well. Definitely Pete Hegseth, war crimes. That brother that was the admiral got out for a reason. Prosecute and Donald Trump. All of them. And I know they say you can't prosecute Donald Trump because he has. I don't care. Give it a shot. My point is, we need Democrats to actually act like this is a war. When someone declares war on you, you are at war. Last question I have for all of y'all. The panel is saying, if we decided we wanted to take this on the road, can I convince any of y'all to come? If we had to do this live, would you guys be down to do it live? The chat is demanding to know if this panel will go on the road or at least do some lives. What do y'all think?
Let's go kick some ass. I'm ready to kick some ass. I'm ready.
Somebody pay for my drinks.
I got my tea. I'm ready to kick some ass.
I'll even bring the cat. I'll even bring Billu.
What is the
cat's
name?
And I'm a teetotaler, so I'm such a terrible capitalist. I'm also a cheap date. Just buy me a Coke.
We'll drink all the liquor. Oh, it's perfect. I'm gonna take my Z-Biotics. I'm gonna have Waj's share, and that's what's gonna happen. We're just gonna pass all Waj's share to me, and it's just gonna be for me and I think Lev will drink it with me. Me and Lev are gonna split your share because I'm not sure what Ellie's drinking status is right now. But we're gonna make sure everybody's fine. Who needs Coca-Cola? Get Coca-Cola. It's all good. I appreciate you guys so much. This is such a great panel. So much fun. Could not have been better. Wajahat Ali, tell everybody where they can find you and support you.
Folks, I'm the host of the Left Hook Substack, thelefthook.substack.com. I'm the world's worst capitalist. Everything is for free, but I have a terrible capitalist special in the New Year's. I depend on the kindness of strangers. I'm like Blanche Dubois, but brown and less melodramatic. So it's 25% off the thelefthook.substack.com/special, $3.75 a month. But if you don't have the money, I have no paywalls. Just subscribe.
I love that. The Left Hook is so valuable, y'all. I promise you, it's one of my favorite follows. One of my other favorite follows, of course, is Lev Remembers. Lev Parnas is amazing. Scooping Substack. Lev, tell everybody where they can get it.
Lev Remembers Substack. That's our home. That's where we, and just want to say, enough is enough, folks. Let's take our democracy back. That's all I want to say. Enough is enough. Let's do it.
Amen.
Thank you for having me.
We'll take a convert when they're a self-convert. What we love about Lev is that Lev converted himself. Nobody had to go over there and convince him to go and come over and vote with us. That he was not doing.
Joe, I had to get out of the cult. This is the real more of the Lev. When I was in that cult, I grew up in Brooklyn and Coney Island. I grew up as an immigrant. I grew up in a totally different world. But you know what? Living in New York, looking up to some of these people, I got blinded by the power, by the money, and that was my drug of choice that I got blinded, and I paid a heavy price for it. And now I'm blessed, and I thank God that I'm out there and I'm able to be on the right side of history. And all I could tell you is I'm ready to kick some ass, and let's do it. Let's take no prisoners. Let's get our country back.
All right, y'all. We're gonna have to send Lev a spicy white sweatshirt. We got a special spicy white one. We're gonna send it to you. Last word to you. Where can they find you, Elie Mystal? We know you're at the Nation. If they do a Nation cruise, is it kind of like the old cruise they used to do on Tom Joyner? Is it like a cruise like that, or what kind of cruise we talking about?
Oh hell yeah! If you come on the Nation cruise, you can get me 24/7. We can hang out, have drinks together, sit on the deck, swim in the ocean, and talk politics. So I'm at thenation.com. I also write books. Yay! Buy some books. Yay!
Buy some books. Yay. Thank you very much. Elie Mystal, Lev Parnas, Wajahat Ali. Love you guys. Happy weekend. Enjoy.
Happy weekend. Take care.
Bye-bye. All right, guys. I think we are so ready for a moment of joy. This moment of joy is actually really, really fun. We've got two quick ones. I know we're a little bit over, but we're going to play two quick pieces for you. The first one is Jesse the Body Ventura, who is always been better than Hulk Hogan. I mean, clearly. But he had some words for Donald Trump. Here they are.
The draft-dodging coward who, when it was his time to serve his country, he did what all rich white boys did. I wasn't a rich white boy. I grew up in South Minneapolis. Most of me and all my friends are Vietnam veterans. We had to go. But the rich white boys never had to go, did they? And he didn't have to go, did he? And yet he's going to tell me what courage is? I'll give you a quote. We're a third world country now. I'm an expert. I've been to them. I spent 17 months in Southeast Asia while the draft dodger was playing golf. And freedom is not arresting people without warrants. We have a system here. It's called a constitution. And we have a party, the Republicans, who don't seem to want to abide by the Constitution. January 6th is a prime example of that. And now they're all free and they're in charge.
Jesse Ventura, please call us. I really want to have you on the show. Big fan back from WWE days. Really would love to interview that man, former governor of Minnesota. Now our moment of joy. And we needed this. I really thank you guys. Yeah, I know we're a little long, but you guys got to watch this. It's so cool. I saw it on social media, brought it over. This is a guy named David Heavens. He's a home care attendant. And his current client is a 94-year-old man who, when he was young, just as we were talking about the Viola Liuzos of the world, the Mickey Schwerners of the world, he participated in the civil rights movement, and now he's being cared for by this young brother named David Heavens. Take a look.
Take it.
First of all, he got him eat him like Uncle Ray Ray. He feeding him all the food from Uncle Ray Ray shop. That was so much fun. We love seeing people coming together, helping others. That is the spice of life. That is what actually makes the world a wonderful place. Thank you to Melissa Bynes Books MBA for the $10 in the till. Thanks to Kim HR Guru. Appreciate the $10. Mona Wilson, thanks for the $1.99. Soka Girl, new reader. We appreciate that. New member, Rats Forward. Thank you very much. Juan Zelle wants to know about my hoodie. I'm going to end with this, and it may not be a moment of joy, but it's my credo. This is actually in the shop. Fuck Trump, fuck ICE, free Palestine, free DC, liberate Puerto Rico, libertad Puerto Rico, free Congo, yes, free Ukraine, free Sudan, end poverty, stop the wars, stop misogyny, end racism. And we are going to take care of our immigrants. We're going to say we love our immigrants. We love our trans, our bis. We love our LGBTQs, all the Qs, all the things. And that's it. We love everybody except the fascists. We hate them. We don't like them. Thanks for watching. We appreciate all of you. We'll see you guys on Monday. Be sure to remember that write down in your notes that next week, Friday, we're going to be doing our super chat for all our brand new and our original readers. And we're going to talk to these folks about taking the show on the road. Thank you very much, Adam R. Wolf, for the $4.99. Thank you to Fly My Video. Was there a poll? I don't know if there was a poll, but anyway, I couldn't see it. Sorry if I missed the poll, but appreciate you guys. See you guys on the next Joy Reid show. And goodbye. Happy weekend. Enjoy. Take care of somebody.